Hello guys, this is David. I hope you're doing well. Now, if you've already completed CFA level 1 and you've passed CFA level 2, but for whatever reason didn't quite make it in your CFA level 3 last time around, this video has some ideas and advice and recommendations that I hope you find useful. And we're going to focus particularly, guys, on bridging the gap. And what I'm going to say to you is that you have an advantage in the knowledge you've already gained in your past level 3 studies. Guys, let's check this out. Now we meet a lot of candidates for whatever reason. Often it might be down to something like life got in the way. So whatever reason, their study plan for their level 3, something perhaps interrupted their work, or maybe they didn't always have the resources that they would have liked. And there are times in our lives when, whether it might be family or work, that our attention has to go on something else. And trying to fit in on top of all these things, study, just can't be done. Now, I know in my own situation, there have been times when I've had to reschedule an exam. One of them was the energy risk from GARP. I just had to put it off at a 6 month period where it wasn't possible. So if I'd have gone on ahead and tried to have crammed everything in, it definitely wouldn't have gone very well. So I decided to defer and then give it a proper go separately 6 months later. And that's one way to look at this, guys. What's 6 months in the scheme of things? You've got to give yourself the optimum study period. Now, when we meet candidates and students, guys, that we meet up with and talk to, sometimes it might not be knowledge. And what I mean by that is you might have more than enough knowledge to do well on the item set section, parts of the exam, but where you're perhaps falling down here is in how to handle the constructive response formats. Are you aware of how to handle those? Are you aware of the use of evidence? Are you aware of the explanation and justifications? How is your time approach and time strategy? Have you been practicing your questions, typing them, or have you not? So using, for example, the simulations, guys, that we have at Kaplan, incorporating the right formats is going to be vital. And we do find there's a certain segment of people who redo level 3 who just didn't know, didn't have the practice, didn't realize what was expected. And a key thing here is knowing how to do well. So knowing what the graders are looking for is really vital. Now, let's move on to perhaps where we have some more minor knowledge gaps. And we meet people who, looking at their results, well, they were close. And we suddenly see that certain gaping gaps, perhaps, in areas like ethics or GIPS or even capital market expectations, things like this. It's not that these areas are particularly hard or technical in a way, but they just weren't studied or practiced, even though like something like ethics has a particularly high weighting. So we can give you advice and recommendations how to really beef up, how to strengthen ethics and GIPS relatively quickly, considering the importance of it. And because it appears right at the very end of all the material, that might be why some people don't do an awful lot in there. So again, relatively minor knowledge gaps shouldn't be too hard to turn around. Where we have more major knowledge gaps, where the feedback guide shows more areas to strengthen, like fixed income or derivatives and currency, well, that's also where we can help you as well. Working with the core understanding, often work with the core ideas, the basic foundational understanding will take you a long way. A great example is currency. It's not a broad topic at all. It's built upon a few core understandings, take you a long way. And that's where we're going to give you some suggestions to reach out to us that we can really help you. So all in all, guys, everyone's different. And what we're going to recommend is do a bit of planning to really fill those gaps. Now, planning your success starts with a good analysis of the feedback that you've had the last time around. Oftentimes, candidates send this in to us. We can help out with this. Looking at identifying what the gaps truly are, the balance between your your constructive response strengths and your item set strengths as well, and also talking to you as well, finding out how the exam went in terms of technique, and also how you studied perhaps in your first time around. Now, over the years, we've found that I've not met anybody who studied in an optimum way and hasn't passed, right? So when we talk to people perhaps who had to redo, there's always been something often missing. What I mean by that, for example, is did the individual, for example, use the review materials that we have? So the review materials, guys, are a chance to practice both types of question, constructive response, item sets, and with instructor videos on every single answer to explain. Talk also about the technique. Those of you also with the essay writing workshop where the grader feedback is on your script. So are you aware of the essay writing online workshop, always held before every exam season, where you send in your scripts and you get the individual grader feedback, letting you know that you're on track, giving you recommendations to increase your score. Have you been using the simulations? Guys, we've got six mock simulations, level 3, keeping it real, really, as far as the exam practice goes. If you're not keeping it real, how do you know that you're able to do it in the real exam in terms of the formats too? Same formats as the exam. The end of chapter questions for 2024, we're bringing in these new 2024 video debriefs. But we do we've always recommended doing the end of chapter questions, get more practice from the institutes, and also using the institute ecosystem as well. And probably even most importantly is to reach out on those perhaps key development areas. We work with many candidates more on a one-to-one, either through InstructorLink or through the forum as well, to really help them turn around those areas. Quite in a practical way, using questions, getting individual help and feedback. Guys, you're paying for the resources. Get your money's worth, is what we would say. So those of you in this position, guys, you're planning your Resit for level 3. Really recommend you do reach out to us and identify what the gap is. Identify the areas to strengthen, guys. Work with us, and we will help you. So all the best, guys, in making those plans. All the best for level 3, guys. See you very soon.